Hey, beautiful star beings. This is Meagan Mermaid. And today I wanted to talk to you all about this solar eclipse that we are having in the sign of Aries. We have so much intense energy that's coming for us. We have a Mercury retrograde that starts at the end of this week. And we also have a lunar eclipse in Scorpio coming up in just 2 weeks. So if you're new to my work, my name is Meagan Mermaid, and I'm a galactic guide and channel for galactic consciousness. And you can learn more about me in the link in bio, as well as book personal sessions and galactic readings, and check out all of the archive of amazing starseed journeys that I've already done. And so today I want to talk about how we can prepare ourselves for all of the changes that are coming our way. So let's talk about what a solar eclipse is first. So solar eclipses are a time when, hi Leah, good to see you. When it's almost like this super new moon, like there's so much light that's available to us that we grow. We grow immensely. And eclipse seasons happen about every 6 months. So often, what will happen is it's the close of one chapter and the beginning of another. Now, solar eclipses are deeply connected to our individual growth, and lunar eclipses are connected to our relationship growth. So, what we're doing now is we're focusing on ourselves, especially with the energy of Aries. Aries is all about the self. So, it's almost like we're prepping ourselves for what's going to be mirrored to us as we move into this solar eclipse lunar eclipse in Scorpio that's happening at the end of or the beginning of May. And Scorpio moons are just they're so intense by themselves. And when we throw in a lunar eclipse, it's almost like all of our secrets are going to be revealed, the secrets of the collective consciousness. And I feel like we might be experiencing that already, sort of like this unrest where it feels like this anticipation. Something is coming. Maybe we don't know what it is. Maybe we don't know when, but something is coming. Something is changing. And so, what we need to do right now is we need to figure out how to burn away our own individual karma and step away from the things that just aren't serving us anymore. So, this solar eclipse is happening at the same time that the sun is moving into Taurus. So, yay, it's beautiful Taurus season. I'm so grateful. And the sun in Taurus is going to be squaring Pluto in Aquarius. So, generally, when we think about the shadow signs of both of these signs, which is normally what squares are, it's this interaction between two shadows of two planets, of two energies. Now, the sun is, oh, sorry, I just dropped my rose quartz crystal. I'm back. So the sun is an energy of how we shine, and Pluto is how we transform. And so, if the sun is in Taurus and we're wanting to shine by being in our bodies and enjoying the senses and the pleasures of life, the shadow side of Taurus is also. My crystal is fine, by the way. The shadow side of Taurus is being stubborn. So we have to make sure that we're not getting too stuck in our ways, especially if it's like checking out through the senses or just wanting to feel good, because there's still a little bit of work to do as well. So, with Pluto in Aquarius, it's transforming that inner rebel. It's transforming all of the ways that we have been conforming to society in some way. So we've got to figure out in this solar eclipse, where are we being stubborn about what needs to be let go of? So think about that for a minute. What are you fighting to hold on to? What are you clinging to? Maybe it's just doing something in a challenging way because you've always done it that way. Or maybe you really know that it's time to, start looking for a different career path, or you feel like something is stagnant in your friendships or your relationships, but you haven't wanted to look at that. I'm telling you this with love. If you take the time to look at it and make the changes now, This lunar eclipse in Scorpio is going to be much, much smoother for you. The more that you're trying to cling to things, the more that you're kind of get it, the more that you're going to kind of get a rude awakening. I don't want to scare you, but we cannot predict Scorpio energy and we cannot predict how this lunar eclipse is going to play out. Now, on top of all of that, we also have a Mercury retrograde that's happening in 2 days, starting on April 21st through May 14th, which is Mother's Day. So, all the time that we're in this eclipse portal, we're also in a Mercury retrograde. So, how can we look at this in a way that is beneficial to us instead of scary or irritating or a challenge? So, let's break this down piece by piece. From the solar eclipse to the lunar eclipse, we are in this 2-week portal that's called the eclipse portal. So we're starting with the solar eclipse, which is where we become an activated new version of ourself. And then we go on this journey. And as we're going onto this journey into the lunar eclipse, we're going on a journey into the underworld. Now, here are a couple things that you want to know on this journey. Don't start a new relationship, especially because it's Mercury retrograde, which I haven't even started to talk about just yet. But if somebody feels like they come out of the blue and you're like, oh my God, this person is so amazing. And like, I just feel this instant attraction to them. And like, I just want to be with them forever. Just be careful. Remember, Meagan Mermaid said, be careful with everything that you do in the next 2 weeks, because it's literally a trip to the underworld. And the underworld is not like hell. It's not like some place where people are damned. It's literally just this space of working through our shadows. And so it means that we've got to go down there. We've got to travel into the space where, Aries, maybe where we've been too independent, where we've been too impulsive, where we've reacted. Those are Aries shadows. And then back into Scorpio, where, we're attracting these relationship dynamics that don't serve us. Okay. So when we're in this eclipse portal, you may feel more hungry than usual. You may feel more tired. You've got to just be with what your body is telling you. So we're processing a lot in this portal, a lot, even if it doesn't feel like it. Suddenly, body ailments might come up out of nowhere. I know Leah, who's watching. Hey, Jen, good to see you. Thank you. Welcome. I appreciate that comment. Yeah. Thank you, Jen. But so Leah, she just started having shoulder pain. I've been dealing with random ailments in my body, and like oftentimes our physical body is like purging things so that we can clear out what needs to be cleared. And so when it gets to our physical body, it's already traveled from the astral body, which is like our emotional body, and it's centered in our sacral chakra, and our mental body, which is like connected to our solar plexus and what plugs us into the collective consciousness. So that means that, whatever ailments that you're experiencing in your body are pointing you to emotions that need to be felt, desires that need to be balanced, and limiting beliefs or thought patterns that are not working for you anymore. So if you want support in that, feel free to book a personal session or galactic channeled reading, and I'd be happy to support you. Doing readings, doing any type of personal growth is a great thing to do in the eclipse portal. We're really just going through this period of intense transformation. Now, if you're watching this, you're somebody that knows what's going on. And you're like, yeah, I'm good. Of course, we're going to have more misunderstandings, or technology is going to be weird. We're in a Mercury retrograde and we're in the eclipse portal, and like you're able to navigate it, right? What about most regular, everyday people in this matrix that are walking around that have no idea about planetary alignments and have no idea why things feel so intense? They're going to be like all over the place. So we have to be focusing on our self-care so that their projections don't get thrown onto us at a time where we're in a space of low energy, and then it just rubs us the wrong way, right? Avoid that. So let's talk about Mercury retrograde. Now, Mercury is going to be retrograde in Taurus. So Taurus, again, is this sign of sensuality. It's a sign of working hard and playing hard. And it's all about the enjoyment of life. And it's all about being present in our bodies. So if Mercury, the sign of our mind, is in a sign that has to do with presence and beingness and being in our bodies, we're going to be tested at when we try to escape into our mind instead of our body, because maybe we don't want to feel those emotions or we don't want to allow ourselves to receive. There's a lot of programming that we are untangling as a collective when it comes to this energy of Taurus, which is an energy of really enjoying and co-creating with the earth plane. So we've got to use the right use of our mind. And the right use of our mind comes through when we start to use our mind in service to our heart. So that means that in this eclipse portal in Mercury retrograde, we have the opportunity to transform these limiting beliefs and these patterns that have been running unconsciously in our DNA by allowing ourselves to listen and be with our heart. There's no other way. The only way to awaken is to be with all of the emotions, all of the feelings that need to be felt, witness them, acknowledge them, and release them back into the world through beauty. That's what the mermaids teach. We take our suffering, we find the pearl of wisdom, the lesson, we collect the data, and then we use it and alchemize it into more beauty. So I've chosen a few cards today from my deck, the Mermaid Empowerment Oracle, and then I thought I brought tarot cards out here. Did I not? I guess I didn't. Well, I also brought some cards from the Wisdom of the Oracle deck. So we'll just work with those. So my deck, the Mermaid Empowerment Oracle deck, will be out very soon. I was just finishing the guidebook design, so it'll probably take a couple weeks to get the inventory in once I complete that design. But within the next month or so, I'm hoping that these will be available for you guys to have. It's been a very long time coming, and I'm so grateful to be at the completion of this chapter of this project. But so each of these mermaid empowerments has an empowerment mantra, which is a statement that's designed to activate your DNA with mermaid consciousness. So this first card that we have is authenticity. And so the mermaid empowerment is, I am free to be me. So I want you to notice that on this card, the mermaid is holding a mirror, and the mirror is being reflected into this waterfall. So that means that when we step into mermaid consciousness, we mirror back the qualities of God within water. So what are the qualities of God within water? It's flow, it's strength without force, it's feel free to name qualities of water in the chat. I'd love to hear what comes up for you when you think about the energy of water, which is really the strongest force. And it's an energy that can cleanse and clear, I can't talk today, cleanse and clear our DNA. And that's what the mermaids are here to do with mermaid consciousness, is cleansing our DNA, especially connected to the wounded feminine and the DNA that's been tampered with around the wounded feminine, the inversion of the feminine power. So in order to do that, we've got to step into this place of authenticity. So the mermaid empowerment says, I am free to be me. And that's really important, because the way that we heal the wounded feminine, which felt suppressed, which felt restricted, which did not feel free to speak its truth, her truth, we've got to do that. We've got to be free to be ourselves, our weird little magical selves, whether you identify as a mermaid or a starseed or a fairy or whatever it is that makes you who you are. You've got to allow yourself the freedom to be that, to show up in your role rather than the role that your parents want you to play, or the role that you feel like is right, or the way that feels comfortable and safe, even though it's literally draining your heart and your soul. Only you know for yourself if you are living in your authentic truth. So how do you know if you're living in your authentic truth? It's when your thoughts, your deeds, your words, and your actions are all in alignment. Why is this important, especially in the eclipse portal? the more that we are authentic to who we are, the easier it will be to manifest. Oh, yay. And Leah's sharing, I love the mermaid cards. Yeah, she's the only one. She's the first person ever to have one of these decks. So congrats, Leah. But yeah, so when we're in an authentic space, we're going to connect to people that are also in that space, and we're going to learn the lessons. We have to learn lessons when we're here on earth. We don't get out of that, but we can learn them in a better way. We can learn them in a way that feels in flow, those water words, that feels effortless, that feels joyful. When we're not in our authentic truth, it actually creates harm, because what will happen is that the reasons why we don't feel authentic have to do with the places where we have not accepted ourselves. And so if we haven't accepted a part of ourselves, we're going to learn a lesson to accept a part of ourselves or integrate a part of ourselves through the mirror of another person. So that's the next card, is specific person. Now, the mermaid empowerment for specific person is my specific person is a mirror of me. And how funny, because on this card, she's got a mirror. So if she's mirroring back the qualities of God, if she's connecting to the divine essence of spirit within her and allowing that energy to shine through, then the energies of her relationships are going to mirror that back. But if she is in a space of feeling repressed or weird or whatever it is that's running unconsciously, then she's going to attract relationships, or we're going to attract relationships that mirror our codependency and accepting less than we deserve, and maybe censoring ourselves in some ways, or trying to be who someone else wants us to be rather than who we really are, or maybe finding people that are emotionally unavailable when what we really want is a heart connection. And so we've got to really understand that this is very courageous work, and it's very easy to want to blame the people in our lives, be it karmic partners or our children or our family members, whoever it is that's mirroring back. It's not always just romantic. Your specific person that you're learning a relationship from is going to mirror back all sorts of things and all sorts of relationship dynamics. But this energy of authenticity, when you're true to yourself first, will support you in no longer blaming the other person, but instead getting curious about what they're teaching you, especially when you're not receiving something that you want from that relationship. You've got to ask yourself, why? What is it about me that I need to be giving to myself, that I need to be receiving? Where do I need to accept my authentic truth? So on this solar eclipse, when we focus on the self, it's not a selfish thing. It's figuring out, who am I? What do I want? What am I here to bring into the world? So we have this moment where all of a sudden, like, the moon and the sun are giving us this blast of all of these light codes that are activating us. And then we've got to go on that journey of discovery in this eclipse portal and Mercury retrograde, in revisiting what needs to be untangled or unraveled so that we can step out of Mercury retrograde and we can move past the lunar eclipse as this whole embodied new self. We're getting a glimpse of it in the solar eclipse, but we've got to work towards becoming it fully by the time the lunar eclipse happens. So yes, this is a really exciting portal, and it's the start of work that we have to do. So the next mermaid empowerment card that we have is patience. And the mermaid empowerment for patience is, I love myself through the becoming. This is so important, especially when it feels like things might be slowing down as we're in retrograde season. And, you might not be seeing reflected back in your external reality the work that you've been doing. So we're working through a lot of programming in the collective consciousness right now that we need to achieve something, or we need to be a certain way in order to feel or to be loved, which is just not true. We're always going to be in a space of growing. We're always going to be in a space of learning, and there's never going to be an end point. So if you're waiting until a certain point to love yourself or appreciate yourself, you are going down a very difficult unnecessary path. Now, the mermaids teach that when you become your best friend, your biggest fan, and your head cheerleader, that the awakening journey becomes so much better. The more that you focus on you and your self-care and being that inner parent to your inner child, and being the hero that your inner teenager would have wanted. That was a download that came to me last night. Is a lot of us have gone through extreme wounding in our teenage years. And so consider that, because some of the patterns that we developed in our teenage years really affect how our emotions and our mind, our EQ and our IQ are operating now. So oftentimes the people that we're attracting into our lives are mirroring back those teenage lessons. So specifically in our emotional or our astral body from ages 7 to 14, and then our IQ, our mental body, from 14 to 21. So what we're doing right now is we're figuring out those root causes. So this eclipse portal and this Mercury retrograde is giving us an opportunity to figure out, okay, how can I become the person that my inner teenager could have looked up to, that would have been able to come to, that would have been listened to, that would have been heard. So it's basically like the suffering that your inner teenager experienced, rather than being all for nothing. It was to become the you that could have supported them at that time, that they would have been like, wow, I really want to be like Meagan Mermaid when I'm that age, or whoever you are, Leah Lyons. And all the things that maybe your inner teenager would have thought you were so cool for, like, be those things now. And especially because I'm picking up that a lot of this is connected to our inner teenager, that's the time where oftentimes we block our authenticity because, peer pressure or wanting to fit in, or, maybe you didn't have a family that like accepted your uniqueness. I know for myself, I grew up in a very religious home and I wasn't able to explore anything magical related. And so I had to kind of stuff that part of me into a box in order to be accepted by my family or by, people that I connected with in school. And for me personally, like a lot of like really heartbreaking relationships took place in those teenagers, those formative years. And so that's why we have to have patience with ourselves, because our teenagers are a time where there's just so many deep emotions and we often don't have the tools to process those emotions. So most of the time what happened is most of us were going through those experiences with little to no support. And oftentimes we were just doing what we could to get through them without really integrating them. So what happens is there's all of these emotional experiences and these thought patterns that have been created from those formative years that are then starting to seep into our physical body and create pain and discomfort. So rather than blame your body for the discomfort, you've got to honor your body because it's processing a lot. It has a lot of responsibility. And to get curious about what do you need to untangle from these teenage years. How are you still playing out that girl in high school that got her heart broken by choosing unavailable people, or it's whatever your specific experience is, it's going to be highlighted for you, not because we want life to be difficult or because it's just an intense time and, oh no, there's this planetary transit, we've got to hide. No, this is a very important opportunity for us to do some deep healing, because if we're willing to do that and to get into the trenches and step into the underworld, then we can come back as this more whole, aligned, authentic person that can actually start to not only manifest things. That word is thrown around so much. Yeah, we can manifest things, but do you even know why you're manifesting them? Do you even know about the energy of your own attractor field? Because if your attractor field is unhealed or imbalanced, you're going to be manifesting a lot of things and they might not be pleasant. So if you're willing to do the work, then And all those things will come at the right time, but you've got to focus on you first. So I love this mermaid deck by Lucy Cavendish. I think it's called the Mermaid Oracle. So we have sisterhood and homeland from this deck. So I feel like we're coming to a space of feeling at home in our authenticity, feeling at home in our magic, feeling at home in our starseed energy, whatever it is that we bring to the table. And sisterhood is going to be really important. So whether you're a masculine or feminine energy, just this energy of, having supportive women is very necessary. And we're healing right now this wound of the feminine, of comparison or jealousy or mistrust of other feminine energies. So sisterhood is also important for the mermaids because it's a space of healing that unhealthy connection to the divine masculine. So the more that we have energies of our sisters that can mirror back to us our beauty and our creativity, and that we can work and heal our individual experiences with, the better our love relationships are, because there's this bigger dynamic that we're all playing out as players in the game of life. And a lot of this has to do with tampering of DNA and all of these experiences that the dark agendas have put us through as humans for thousands of years. And because of that tampering and the codes, the viral programming that has been put into the land and put into our collective consciousness, it's created these imbalances within the masculine and the feminine energy of betrayal and distrust. And then it's also created this separation from the feminine energy. So we're having to simultaneously heal all of these things: our connection to the masculine, our connection to the feminine, our connection to ourselves. And so the more that we're coming home to ourselves, the more that we're honoring whatever is arising without making ourselves wrong for it, the easier it's going to be to be on this journey that we're all a part of. We're all working through the same lessons. And that's why it's important that we talk about it, because the more that we talk about our experiences, the more that we'll see how universal they are, and that we're not wrong, and that we're not broken, and that we're not bad. We're humans that are playing out these cosmic, archetypal, mythological roles. And once we recognize that, we can start to work in co-creation in that process and sort of begin to redefine our role through our own self-love practice and our own self-mastery. So we have unfinished symphony here. And I feel like this is something that's important for us to understand, that, when we're working through healing karmic partnerships, sometimes, especially in eclipse portals, it might feel like the door just gets shut and people are just eclipsed out. I want you to understand that there is a divine order to things. And so sometimes we're going to be guided to speak up, sometimes and set a boundary with someone, for example. And sometimes that person just would not be able to hear or understand that boundary. And putting energy, even trying to set a boundary, would just create more separation. So in that case, the universe might have to shut a door on certain people or experiences right now so that you can step into this eclipse portal fully focused on you. So I want to talk about the energies of social media when it comes to that, because, we might not be aware of the energetic leaks that social media can have. So whether it's someone viewing your story or, checking and seeing if somebody's watching or commenting, we're giving people access to our energy through social media. So think about that in the next 2 weeks. Do you feel anxious, or do you feel like too much magnetic energy around certain people? Is that affecting your use of social media? Because that is this very subtle way that masculine and feminine unhealed energies can sort of siphon off of each other. And, just because feelings are intense, it doesn't mean that they're healthy. So that means that if an unfinished symphony is coming through, you got to let it be incomplete, and you've got to focus on the work yourself. It doesn't mean that that door can't open again later, but it just means that this is a very activating time. And if you're being stubborn, as I shared with the energy of Taurus, about letting go what needs to be let go of, you're going to create unnecessary trouble, trouble and conflicts. Trouble is like even worse than trouble. I don't even know what. But so then we have go the distance. So this is the energy of like just keep going. Like remember we talked about the energies of April. If you want to watch my April energies update, the words were consistency, commitment, and compassion. So this is a reminder that in this very intense portal of energy, we've got to keep going. We've got to keep showing up. And this chopped wood card is coming up. So it's basically like, what needs to be done right now? Okay. Do you need to wash the dishes? Do you need to take the trash out? Do you need to take care of your kid? Do you need to drive to work? Do you need to like, write an email? Yeah, we can get into this space where like we're really in the energies of what's happening and we can be going into past lives and this and that's that. And it's all interesting, but like, we've got to focus on being a human, what needs to be done right now in this moment that will support us in being present and in being flexible, which is the next word. So, flexibility is also an energy of water. Water can mold and change its form to fit whatever situation or experience it's in. And so this is the lesson that we're learning in this eclipse portal is how to be flexible, how to stop being so controlling of the universe and feel like, oh, universe, I want this or I want that. Again, we've got to focus on our attractor field. We've got to heal our attractor field. That's what we're going to talk about with the lunar eclipse in Scorpio, is how to heal our attractor field, because Scorpio is very connected to the sacral chakra. So it magnetizes experiences or situations to us. So first, we've got to figure out how to be flexible and in flow with what the universe is giving us right now. And we've got to be flexible and willing to let things go so that we don't attract things that we would not enjoy. And then the final card that I have for you today is Between Worlds. So this is a reminder that, we're moving out of one timeline into another. And that can bring up a lot. Oftentimes we as the humans, we want certainty. We want to know what's coming. And if we just knew where we were moving, or if this person was into us the way that we are, if we just knew that this was the right choice, then we would feel safe. And the more that you dive deeper into your awakening journey, the less you're going to know anything. And that just becomes a way of life where you've got to have this deep trust and faith and belief in the universe. And yes, the universe can send you all sorts of signs. If you start to work with the energies of synchronicities, you can ask for animals, you might see numbers. There's all sorts of energies that will tell you that you're on the right path and to keep going, but you've got to be okay in the uncertainty. If you can be okay in the uncertainty, you'll be able to pass any lesson, any experience that comes your way. So really be kind and gentle to yourself. Know that you're doing a lot of very heavy work right now, and that you can do this in a fun way. So if you work with the energies of the Mermaids of Sirius, and if you haven't already signed up for my mailing list, you can do so in the link in bio, and you'll get a free guided meditation to meet the Mermaids of Sirius and receive a gift for every chakra. So that's like a very foundational energy step to get into to start working with mermaid consciousness. And I'll be sharing much more about mermaid consciousness in the days and weeks to come. But I just really encourage you to celebrate this moment and also to prepare yourself. We're going on a journey. In Celtic mythology, the word is Imrama, which is a journey over water. So this is what we're doing. We're getting ready for this quest in the eclipse portal. And we've got to be authentically true to ourselves. We've got to be patient with ourselves. And we've got to trust that even when things seem challenging or uncomfortable, it's all for our greatest good and for the greatest good of everyone involved. So good luck. And if you want to learn more, you can visit the link in my bio to book a personal session or galactic channeled reading. I also have an amazing course called Galactic Leadership Training. It's a self-study course with the Galactic Federation of Light, the Sirians, the Pleiadians, the Andromedans, the Arcturians, the Orions, all teaching you. So you're a starseed. Now what? How do you show up in a good way and live an enjoyable human experience without having to sacrifice your magic? If you want to know more about that, Galactic Leadership Training is for you. And if you're not already subscribed, please do so. You can hit that notification bell so you know every time when I go live. And I love you all. Have a beautiful day or evening wherever you are in the world.